You walked into Target for shampoo and toothpaste, and somehow you spent over $100 45 minutes later on things you didn't need. This would never happen to a Japanese family. And it's not because they're more strict or smarter with money than you. They simply have a short list of things they never waste money on. And it's the reason the average Japanese family ends up saving about 3 times what the average American family saves on the exact same paycheck. We're going to walk through 9 of the most important things on that list in this video, and every single one of them is something most American households are buying every single month without ever really thinking about it. The first one will shock you when you realize how long it's been sitting in your kitchen. Number 5 is in almost every room of your house right now, and you've bought the same thing over and over for years without realizing it. And stick around for number 9, because the average American household could be losing up to hundreds of dollars each month, and they don't even know about it. The first one is the pile of single-use kitchen gadgets sitting in the drawer next to your stove. Open it right now while I'm talking, and you'll find an avocado slicer you bought during a phase where you were going to make avocado toast every morning, a strawberry huller you've never used once, and a garlic press that lives in the drawer, because washing it out takes longer than mincing the garlic by hand. Every one of these was between $6 and $12, and every one of them felt like a small, clever purchase at the time. A Japanese kitchen tends to run on about 3 tools total, which is 1 good knife, a wooden cutting board, and a pan. And everything else either lives in a cupboard or does not exist in the house at all. The idea behind that is called shokunin, which is the craftsman's mindset of getting genuinely good with a small number of tools instead of buying a specialized one for every possible job. Every gadget in your drawer was sold to you as a shortcut, and each one actually slows you down because you have to find it, wash it, dry it, and put it away for a job your knife would have done in 10 seconds. You didn't buy 30 gadgets over the years. You bought the same feeling 30 times. That this next one was finally going to make you the cook you wanted to be. The next one is actually what you bought to try to fix the drawer full of gadgets, and it's storage bins. Somewhere in your garage right now is a stack of empty ones waiting to hold something sitting next to a stack of full ones you can't remember the contents of. And there's a whole closet organization system you installed last spring that already needs another closet organization system to fix it. The average American household spends around $1,200 a year on storage and organization products. And the following year, they report feeling exactly as cluttered as they did before, sometimes more. A Japanese home is built around a word called katazuki, which means putting things back where they belong. And the part of it Americans miss completely is that anything without a real place in the house is not supposed to be kept at all. Walk into a Japanese living room and you'll see almost nothing on the surfaces because every object in the room has an assigned home in a cupboard or a drawer. And anything that never earned an assigned home was let go of long before it ever became clutter in the first place. Storage bins let you skip that decision entirely because you can buy a bin, drop the thing inside. And now what should have been a hard choice about whether to keep something has been turned into an easy trip to Target next weekend. The bin is what allowed you to keep it in the first place, which means storage was never solving a storage problem. It was giving you permission to keep owning too much. The next one is the pile of bulk warehouse snacks sitting in your pantry right now. The family-sized box of cheddar crackers from Costco, the case of granola bars, the party-sized bag of chips that was supposed to last a month and lasted 4 days instead. You bought the big one because the price per ounce was better and because buying in bulk feels like the smart thing to do. Researchers at Ohio State have found that households who buy their snacks in bulk actually eat around 44% more of them per week than households buying smaller sizes of the exact same items. The reason is simple enough once you see it happen in your own kitchen, which is that a big bag of anything is hard to seal properly and even harder to hide, so it lives on the counter in plain sight for days. And every time your eye lands on it, your brain registers that food is available even if you weren't hungry a second ago. A family-sized bag sits open on the counter for days because it is too big to put away easily, and every time you walk past it, your hand ends up in it. Japanese households tend to shop small and shop often, buying enough for 2 or 3 days at a time, guided by an idea called shun, which means eating what is fresh and in season at that moment. You weren't saving money by buying the bigger bag. You were training yourself to eat twice as much and calling the receipt a bargain. And this is the kind of small decision that separates a Japanese household from an American one, saving them a fortune over the years without ever feeling like they went without. The Japanese have hundreds of small habits like this one that they have used for generations to keep their homes, their families, and their spending in good order. And I have put all of them together into a book over at thejapesmethod.com. So scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description to get your copy and start saving real money in your own household this week. The next one is the pile of fast fashion clothes taking over your closet. The Shein order that came in a plastic bag last month with 12 items in it, most of which you'll wear once for a photo and never touch again. The Zara run because someone at work wore something you liked. And the H&M haul during a bad week where buying a new top felt like the smallest possible act of self-care. Every individual piece was somewhere between $8 and $30, and every one of them felt free at the moment of purchase. And the closet has been filling up faster than you're wearing anything out. A Japanese adult wardrobe tends to be built over years slowly around an aesthetic called Iki, which is a kind of understated confidence in your own taste. The wardrobe is small on purpose. Pieces are chosen once and kept for a decade or longer, and getting dressed in the morning takes about 90 seconds because most of the decisions were already made back when each piece was bought. Open a Japanese closet and you'll find maybe 20 pieces total arranged with real care in colors and cuts that all work with each other, chosen over years of quietly noticing what actually suits the person wearing them, instead of what looked good on someone else in a photo. The nothing-to-wear feeling you get every morning was never really about the number of items in your closet. It was about the friction of choosing between 40 things you feel lukewarm about instead of 8 things you actually love. You aren't building a wardrobe on the fast fashion plan. You are renting one from your future self at a rate that compounds every year you keep doing it. That's 4 things down, and every one of them is a physical purchase you could walk over and touch somewhere in your house right now. The next one is different. It's the reason the other 8 cost you more than they should, and it doesn't look expensive on its own, which is exactly why you have never caught it happening to you. You walk through the front door and the living room looks off somehow. So you head to Target or HomeGoods on Saturday and pick up a candle in a nice glass jar, a throw pillow in whatever this season's color happens to be, maybe a small ceramic vase for the console table, and a wooden sign that says something like Gather or Grateful or the family last name in a scripted font. The room looks better for about a week. Then your eye stops registering any of it and the room looks off again. So a couple weekends later, you're back at HomeGoods buying another candle and a small tray to put it on. Every one of these items was under $30, and none of them felt like a mistake. And if you added up what you have spent on decorative objects over the last 5 years, it would fund a small vacation. This one works differently from the other 8 on this list because it doesn't cost much per trip. And the reason it's the biggest one is that it is the loop that keeps you buying, and it is running underneath every other item in this video. Decorative purchases don't fix anything in the room. They give you a hit of the feeling that the room is finished. And that feeling wears off within days because nothing actually changed about how the room works or what it does for you. So the loop restarts and the shelf fills up and the dusting takes longer every year and the storage bins we talked about earlier start filling with the seasonal versions of all of it. A Japanese home carries almost no purely decorative objects at all. And the beauty of the room comes from an idea called yan-no, by which means the beauty of usefulness. A tea bowl on the shelf is beautiful because it works. A folded cloth is beautiful because it folds. A cast iron kettle is beautiful because it heats water and has done exactly that for 200 years. The rule underneath the whole idea is that beauty which does not do a job stops being beauty and turns into performance. Every decorative object in your house right now is a small monthly rental on the feeling of being finished. And the rental never ends because the feeling never lasts long enough to complete the purchase. Number 6 is the shelf in your bathroom that you can't fully close the cabinet on. Toner essence, hyaluronic serum, vitamin C serum, retinol for nighttime, an eye cream a day, moisturizer a night, moisturizer 3 different cleansers. You rotate depending on the day. A jade roller you bought in 2020 and used twice and somewhere behind all of it. A face mask that expired back in 2023. The average American woman spends over $3,000 a year on skincare and beauty products, and most of what she buys ends up sitting half as used on that same shelf. Dermatologists have found that once a routine goes past about 5 products, the ingredients often start canceling each other out. So the fancier serum and the acid toner and the layering essence together produce less result than 3 basic products used every day for a full year would have produced. What's actually happening on your face is that the acid in one product is neutralizing the active ingredient in the next one. The retinol you spent $40 on is being blocked by the moisturizer layered over it. And the vitamin C serum is oxidizing before it can do anything at all. So you end up paying for a shelf full of products that are quietly fighting each other every morning. But the industry cannot sell you 3 products used for a year because that ends the sale. It sells you complexity instead, because complexity needs refills, and refills need brand loyalty, and every new viral ingredient needs its own bottle on your shelf. A Japanese skincare routine tends to be built around a word called cure, which means clean and cared for and simple all at once. The routine is often just a good cleanser, one hydrating layer and a moisturizer used every night for years. And the results come from the consistency of it and not from the product count. Your shelf isn't really a routine at all. It's a collection of small hopes that the next bottle will finally deliver the face you thought you were paying for. And every new bottle joins the collection instead of replacing anything already in it. Number 7 is stacked up by your back door. Cases of bottled water from Costco or Sam's Club. 24 bottles to a case. 3 or 4 cases in the rotation at any given time. You buy them because you don't love the taste of your tap water, or because you don't fully trust it, or because everyone else does it and it feels like the normal thing to do. You tried a pitcher filter at some point and the cartridge expired sitting in the fridge because you kept forgetting to refill the pitcher itself. You tried a cheaper store brand of bottled water and it tasted the same, so you went right back to the one you knew. The bottles get carried in by the case. They sit in the fridge. They get carried back out to the recycling bin on Tuesday, and the cycle repeats every 10 days or so. Add up what your household has actually carried through the front door over the last 10 years, and it works out to something in the range of 1,000,000 bottles, most of which existed for maybe 15 minutes of active drinking, before spending the rest of forever sitting in a landfill, which is a lot of plastic to move around a house for something you are supposedly saving money on. The average bottled water household spends somewhere between $250 and $600 a year on it, and over a decade, that adds up to something in the range of $4,000. What you're actually paying for isn't the water itself, it's the delivery of the water. The pipes that run into your house already carry drinkable water for a fraction of a cent per gallon, and a filter that screws onto the end of the faucet costs around $20 and lasts most of a year. A Japanese kitchen tends to have exactly that setup. A small filter on the tap and a glass bottle of water in the fridge, guided by an idea called Shizen, which is a preference for using what is already there in front of you instead of routing around it. The tap water in your house was never really the problem. The habit of not trusting it was. Number 8 happens at the register, and it takes about 30 seconds each time. So it is easy to miss how much of it adds up over a lifetime of buying things. You buy a laptop or a television or a small appliance, and right before the card goes through the machine, the clerk asks if you'd like to add the protection plan for another $89. You've had bad luck with electronics before. $89 sounds small compared to what you're already spending on the main item. You say yes, sign the receipt, and forget about it within a week. The average American family spends between $200 and $400 a year on extended warranties across various purchases, and over 90% of those warranties are never used at all. And of the ones that are used most, cover something that the manufacturer's warranty already covered anyway. Extended warranties are one of the highest margin products in retail, which is exactly why every clerk is trained to offer them, and why the pitch is timed for the moment after you've already committed to the main purchase. Your decision fatigue is at its peak by then, and $89 is a rounding error against the number you already agreed to. Think back to the last warranty you actually paid for, whether it was on a laptop or a washing machine or a set of tires, and try to remember whether you ever used it and whether you even still own the thing it was supposed to be covering, and where the paperwork for it is right now, if a real problem came up tomorrow. Japanese consumer culture is famously resistant to these kinds of add-ons at the register. The principle behind that resistance is minai a deep sense of regret for anything wasted, including money spent on fear you didn't need to buy. You didn't buy protection when you added the warranty. You bought the feeling of protection which the product itself already came with for free. So the $89 was a payment for a feeling that was already in the box. Number 9 is the last one, and it's the one I told you about at the very beginning of this video. Open up your last credit card statement and scroll through it slowly and look at every recurring charge that appears every single month, whether you noticed it or not. There is a streaming service that nobody in your house has opened since the spring. There is a subscription box for something you signed up for during a free trial back in 2023. There is an app you downloaded once for a specific trip and never canceled after the trip ended. There is a magazine that shows up in the mailbox already unopened. There is a gym membership that has turned into a monthly guilt payment for a workout you keep meaning to restart next Monday. The average American household loses around $273 every single month to subscriptions they don't actually use, which works out to somewhere over $3,000 a year. That number doesn't feel real until you sit down and add up the individual lines on your own statement, at which point it usually feels worse than $3,000. A subscription isn't really a purchase in the normal sense. It's a permanent expense pretending to be a temporary decision. And the trick of it is that you only ever made the decision once, years ago, when the $14.99 a month felt like nothing against what you thought you were about to use it for. Every month since then has been the tax on that one old decision. Japanese consumers are famously cautious about signing up for anything recurring. The mindset behind the caution is makaku, clear-headedness about any expense that repeats without your active permission each time. You didn't buy any of these things this month. You bought them once years ago, and every single month since then has been the interest payment on a decision you don't even remember making anymore. Every one of these 9 things works the same way. You made a decision once, and it keeps costing you month after month, year after year, without you ever having to decide anything about it again. They aren't 9 separate problems in your household. They're one pattern showing up in 9 different aisles of your life. And the pattern is that a single old choice keeps drawing money out of your account long after you stop paying any attention to it. If this video was useful to you, share it with someone who needs to see it, and hit the subscribe button so you catch the next one. And you can click the video appearing on your screen. I think you'll like it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next one.